Good afternoon, everybody. Let's get started with the final talk. I'm separating you from the end of the event, but well, that's also the best part because we have more time. Data exchange standardization and interoperability are key enablers for energy transition. Every day, the main objective of TSOs is to ensure that the energy flows from where it is produced to where it needs to be consumed. But sometimes, this is not possible. There are congestions. It is as if we all try to get out from this event and go into our houses, to our homes. This is the congestion management problem. It is a huge problem. But let's reflect together at how much important this problem is for the energy transition. It doesn't matter how much renewable energy one is able to produce if you cannot get it to flow to where you need to be consumed. This is what the TSOs try to solve with the coordinated security analysis business process. And it's a complex process. The problem is also, the stakes are also huge. And it gets even more difficult when you try to scale this problem to pan-European cross-regional scale. At ENTSO-E, we try to develop standards and specifications to ensure that the IT systems that we build in the middle understand each other's data. So, believe it or not, we try to make the life of developers easier. Simplifying it too much, there are 3 levels of interoperability. One is the machine artifacts, the human specifications, but ENTSO-E does not enter into software development. This is why today I will present the 4 deliverables that we are soon delivering that will try to make your life easier. This is a report, what is called the Standard Vetting IOP report from this year. We are delivering also a test model under open source license. We are delivering, an enhanced data exchange standardization and a CIM-based set of profiles. Some vendors are welcome to contribute to this and to collaborate with us. We have a collaboration framework that I'm also going to present. That's all. These are the conclusions. You could go away, you can disconnect now, and if you walk out that door just remembering these messages, I would be more than happy. But I think that I have, something more. I will try to stick to the schedule, something more than 15 minutes to justify what I just said. Without trying to claim myself a magician, I am there in the middle sometimes between conversations, in conversations between software developers and TSOs setting business requirements. And I have to do some tricks and hicks to write a standard. But I'm very happy to be in this event and hearing from you, from the good feedback and the bad feedback, because you got it right. I just have to, I need to refer to my previous, the previous talk from Subteam. It is a painful journey, but I will try to present some material that hopefully makes your life easier. This is the structure of this presentation, and I will just slowly, quickly present myself. I'm Eduardo. I have a technical background in generalist engineering with a specialization in power systems, electrical power systems, and data science. I've been working at ENTSO-E for 2.5 years, something a bit more, as a CIM advisor and CIM specialist. And you can contact me under this email. But what is ENTSO-E? For those not familiar with ENTSO-E, maybe coming from abroad, from North America or the continents, just know that ENTSO-E is the Association of Transmission System Operators in Europe that makes 40 members in 36 countries. And it is an example of collaboration and integration at European level with success stories like the Ukrainian grid integration and the Baltic synchronization. We are legally mandated by the European Commission through ACER, and we deliver key reports and studies like the TYNDP, 10 Years Network Development Plan for long-term planning, or also for security of supply and adequacy, the ERA. But I want to go a bit faster and talk really about system operation. Where are all the requirements for operation planning coming from? This is a very synthesized slide saying that the pieces of legislation, ruling, all that, the capacity allocation, congestion management, you have the references there to the Commission regulation, and the system operation guideline. These are abstract pieces of legislation, and we try to land them to reality through methodologies. The relevant one for this talk is the CSA methodology that you also have a link there. More will be coming, like the network code on demand response, if you are familiar with these topics. By the way, I will be leaving useful links at the top of my presentation. You will also have a compilation of them at the end of it. So yeah, hopefully you appreciate them, and makes it easier to navigate. I couldn't continue without introducing other partners, the RCCs, the Regional Coordination Centers. The first two were created in 2008. They were Correzo and TSNet, but today there are 6 of them. They are organizations owned or appointed by the TSOs themselves in different regions, and they have a legal mandate to deliver 5 core tasks, along with, in the 5th energy package, the clean energy package, they were also mandated to do more tasks, up to 16. I just put the other 16 for your information in this slide, but I will just focus on the 5 core tasks. These are the common grid model, the coordinated security analysis, but also the coordinated capacity calculation, outage planning coordination, and short-term adequacy. The objective of that is to minimize wide area events and to lower the cost of operation by ensuring maximized availability of transmission capacity. That is to have a better grid operation. I will start focusing on the common grid model because it consists, if you've been in other talks this morning, in the creation of a single and consistent grid model for all Europe. Okay, and it's also relevant to keep in mind the coordinated security analysis, which the objective is to have an increased cross-border awareness of operational security, remedial action coordination, and optimization. I'm just reading the definition, but you would get to understand them a bit better. The CGM is the foundation, as I said. From TSOs, they send their individual grid models into a common platform. It is called the Operational Planning Data Environment, OPD, and from there, RCCs, they are able to merge these individual grid models into a CGM. Okay, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to fulfill with the other RCPs, the regional coordination processes. That is, from the CGM, with some more input data, we should be able to deliver the coordinated security analysis, the CCC, OPC, and STA. We will focus today, as it is currently the focus of many TSOs, in the CSA implementation, okay? And yeah, the key here is to standardize this input data with something else than CGMES, that is something extending CGMES and putting them on top. These are called the network code profiles. They are CIM-based, and again, they are extending CGMES. Very briefly, my intention is not here to give a masterclass on the CSA process, but this is a fairly decent overview. It starts with the input data preparation. It continues with a round of CGM. So we have a model, and with this model, we proceed to the CROSA, the Cross-Regional Security Assessment, which consists on 3 sub-processes, the Regional Security Assessment, Remedial Action Coordination, and the Remedial Action Optimization. I just flipped the order, sorry. We go to a second round, and in this time, we do a coordinated CROSA, okay? And a final validation. Good. That was the introduction. Now, how do we all how do we standardize all that? And who is behind this work at ENTSO-E? This is where the common grid, common information model comes in. It's a model. It's just a model, but it's difficult to work with. It is a model that it's developed under the IC Technical Committee 57 umbrella, and there are 3 relevant working groups, working group 13, 14, and 16 for grid, which is our focus today, enterprise and market. There is a canonical model, and there are extensions. The CIM-based became a standard on its own in version 3.0. Before that, it was not an international standard. Before 2021, it was a technical specification. So just for your information. And the network code profiles, as I said, are an extension to this canonical CIM and the CIM-based. Good. Thanks to it, we can represent the grid and the operation of it. There are 2 main representations for humans, because we like to see a diagram. It is represented in UML, and we also have English specifications that we can read. There are machine representations, and these are the CIM artifacts, which our colleague just before introduced very well. You have skipped me a lot of time because you did a great presentation. Thanks for that. These are the application profiles and instance data, mainly. The problem is that it relies heavily on linked data and graph-based technologies, as our colleague again from subteam was commenting. That's the main barrier of it. Good, now that we are all CIM experts, this is the structure of ENTSO-E. We are divided in that way. We have an ICT committee, and inside the ICT committee, there is the CIM working group. I'm not going to go through the whole CIM working group, but you have to know that we are in constant collaboration with the business owners. Within the CIM working group, there is a subgroup, which is called the RCC Network Code Profiles subgroup, which goes the farther mile and collaborates with regional implementation projects. These projects are in charge of implementing the software for their region. And we also collaborate with relevant industry software vendors. I'm just putting them, the ones you see in the picture are the ones we collaborated with in the 2025 SVIOP that I will talk in a second. Okay? Deliverables, what you're waiting for. The central part is the SVIOP. This is an event that started with a series of weekly online calls and ended with a physical event in June in Brussels. And in there is where we gather all the use cases, that TSOs ask for. So that is, TSOs, they ask for more changes. This is why ENTSO is constantly changing things, is because TSOs, they have new requirements. And apart from that, because we discovered that we mess some things up and we need to repair some bugs, like normal maintenance. So this is the source of the requirements in this occasion of the use cases. With that, we built a data exchange specification and personally put a lot of emphasis, a lot of effort in being as clear as possible and going down to the detail, down to the attribute and association level. So it's crystal clear what one has to do to fulfill a certain use case. The use case, they of course refer to a CIM-based model. These are the network code profiles. And this time, for the first time, we are releasing an open source test model, an anonymous one. And this is the RelicApp grid. That is, you will have a specification. This is what I just said. You'll have a specification, a CIM model, and an example of what we refer with it in an open source manner. This is what you can expect. But let me just go very quickly through them. This is just another way of explaining what I just did for your guidance in the near future. And when can you expect these things to come up? This is a bit of history on the different versions of the profiles and the specifications. We are not super good at giving names, as you will discover along this presentation, and we have changed it along the time. Right now, they are called Regional Coordination Processes Data Exchange Specification, RCP DES, and Network Code Profiles. Before, it was called CSA-X, all right, CSA Profiles too. But now our ambition is to have not only the CSA, but the other 3. You can expect this to be delivered on the 11th of September. Tomorrow. So ICT is proposed to approve this material. But now, the standard vetting IOP, This is, as I said, a collaboration framework. This is most important. And we are delivering a report. This is the structure of it. The test use cases, I will mention them in a second in the next slide. But we capture key technical conversations that often software vendors have. So this was the opportunity really to answer them. And I cannot emphasize more how I think how much it helps just to have a direct conversation in person. Conversations such as how do I use the boundary, how do I define the metadata, what is the use ENTSO-E wants to give to the reference data, common data. It is all in there. I really recommend you go have a look. At least it will clarify some doubts you might have. Yeah, we were setting also the community priorities, and in this report you can read that we really need to focus in getting a conformity assessment scheme to certify tools on how good they fulfill how good the software fulfills the coordinated security analysis process, and we also need to develop extra validation rules specifically for this process. Yeah, the test use cases. They are shown in here, and you will see this has a logic. They stem from the TSOs. They come from them. It doesn't mean that only these TSOs fulfill this use case. It just means that they sponsor that. Okay. This is a further list. Okay. And where do these use cases end up? They end up in the regional coordination processes data exchange specification using the network code profiles. This is a very brief overview of it, of the RCP DES. It has a description of the CSA business process for information, but actually you see here that the use cases ended up there in the different chapters and sub-chapters. It also has some information, useful information, like how compatible are the network code profiles with the CIM-based version 2.4, 3.0. We also try to answer that in there, and how to use common and reference data, etc., etc. All the guidance that we got from the event and along these years, we try to land here, so it's clearer for software developers. The network code profiles, there are 17 of them. Yeah, 17. And they are full aligned with market profiles, with ESMP profiles for data exchange. I know, it's complex. There are 4 CIM-based profiles and 17 network code profiles, but the process is complex. The requirements that are derived from the law are complex. The logics are complex. So it's not because ENTSO-E wants to complexify it, it's because it's really a huge challenge to fulfill this service in a cross-regional manner. But personally, I have put special emphasis, and the CIM working group has put a special emphasis in tracking the reasons why we add them, in tracking what we add. You will find release notes in this publication for one of the first or second times, for RCP DES and network code profiles. Of course, for network code profiles, for the schemas, you'll have also a difference file that where you can actually look at all the changes. And the open source anonymous ReLICAP test model, which is very relevant for today's event, right? For the first time, ENTSO-E is delivering an open source test model. It is composed of grid models in CIM-based 3.0 and of the network code profiles referring to that grid. Okay, and it's published under Creative Commons license. You can find it on the ENTSO-E GitHub account as soon as ICTC approves it in the following days. This is the structure, as I just said, and it is a synthetic grid, not having any reference to real equipment of TSOs. And yeah, it represents something physical. As you might guess, someone was reading The Lord of the Rings when we were inventing these names. They are composed by 7 fictional TSOs, 1 RCC, and that they all live together in one CCR, or coordinated capacity coordination region, sorry, which is called the 9 realms. Why it is 9 realms and 7 TSOs? Yeah, we're not good at giving names. The other open source ENTSO-E products, just to mention that apart from this, we also have released 2 more open source repositories, SYNContextual and SYNSyntaxion, for profiling. Okay? And a reference legacy implementation, I will go very, very quickly through this, as I know that the clock is ticking. This is something that core CCR was offering, and we wanted to capture the good practices from them. Yeah, basically what we offer here as an annex of the RCP DES is a way of defining use cases, of signaling profile dependency, and yeah, as I just said, we wanted to capture the good manners, the good practices, sorry, but the latest recommendations always are in the latest version of the specification. And a practical example, okay? Let's say that yeah, you have 3 pieces of information. You have the RCP DES, you have the test use case folder in the repository, and you have the repository itself, the model itself. So let's say that one day I open the release notes from ENTSO-E, and I realize that they have implemented that use case that I'm interested in. Modeling current flow conditions against PATL or TATL. These are thermal limits, temporary and permanent. Okay, there is a description of it, and there is a description of it down to the attribute level. So you need to do that with this attribute, etc. And you can go to the UML and see that it has a certain meaning, it has a semantic. This is the power of CIM. That data is not just floating there, it has a graph-based semantic behind. But yeah, very, very nice. This is what we had until now, but how does it look like in real life? This is why you have the example. This actually reflects a real grid is synthetic, but it reflects to something, yeah, tangible. We're going to use these 2 lines, and you have it here. Here I'm using a software for visualization instead of exploring the XML itself because it's ugly. And then you have a remedial action. Let's say that in this case it's a SIPS, a System Integrity Protection Scheme, checking whether the flow through a line exceeds the limit, and in this case it deactivates the line. Cool, and this demonstrates the CIM design. And there is also a contingency for simulating, for triggering this condition. In this case, I'm putting this example. What I want to say is that the model shows an inequivocal way of representing the CIM. Conclusions, the same as before. So nothing new. The coordinated security analysis is key for energy transition in Europe. At ENTSO-E, we try to ease the journey of software developers as much as possible. However, we don't do software development, and this is why we are more than open to collaborate with you, to hear from your feedback. You can contact us anytime. We also offer a collaboration framework. We really recommend you to engage to the next standard vetting IOP that will start most probably in February. And if you're actually interested in doing so, please contact me in advance so I can already consider it through the email that is there, and especially for software vendors. I mean, you couldn't have made a better presentation just before, because what our priorities are at the CIM working group is offering a software development kit, a library that allows you to do your developments around CGMS, around CIM, in the most easy manner. We are not there yet, but it is what we are working in automatizing all these test use cases we have described, and checking that software tools, they can fulfill the use cases TSOs asked for. Just a small reminder, you have a lot of useful links on helping you how to navigate the ENTSO-E webpage and other resources at the end of the presentation. But this is the end of it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, you do a lot of work for TSOs, obviously. Thank you. Great presentation, and I mean, I guess through you to ENTSO-E, I think you guys have done a pretty good job at getting 49 very big organizations to align. 39, 49? How many TSOs?
Or 40 members.
Yeah, 40. So you got a lot of really big organizations to do something that resembles interoperability, and I think that's really very well done. Now there are, I believe, about 2,400 DSOs, and I know that the ENTSO-E doesn't have any responsibility for them. But of course, we would like to know more about what's happening in the distribution grid as well. So are there any collaborative efforts that we could or should know about with respect to the DSO entity, that kind of stuff?
Great question. Although I'm not the direct responsible for that, and of course I cannot talk about for the DSOs, I can only say that ENTSO-E and EU DSO entity collaborate under the joint working group, which, it's a collaboration of the two organizations, and that started not long time ago. That is something to have a look at, definitely, if you are interested in DSO-related topics, But definitely there are things moving, mostly coming with new requirements for flexibility and this kind of stuff.
Thank you. I have a very small question and a comment. So the small question is the ReLICAP grid. When can we expect it?
Where or when?
When can we have it?
As I said, our committee, ICTC, is proposed to approve it tomorrow.
That's part of it.
You can expect it in the next other week.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. The small comment is that the link to your slides leads to a 404 error on the summit's webpage. So please fix the link so that we can get to those links.
Exactly. The link is broken because it is in a private repository. Okay. When it is public, it will be working.
The link to your slides on the LF Energy Summit?
It doesn't work?
No.
Oh,
okay.
Good. That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay, that's me.
Okay, so thank you. And don't hesitate to approach me if you have any more questions. Have a very nice evening.